Welcome, my pile one. We're going to get into a reading about the dynamics of what's happening in your life right now. So whoever or whatever you choose to delegate this reading towards, keep an open mind when it comes to the interpretations of how the images or analogies come to me to explain what I'm feeling or seeing or hearing. With the purple cards, the Psychic Tarot is where we're going to start, and it's going to give us an overall energy of what's happening. It may echo to different areas of your life, and as you see them echo to different areas, you'll see how it sort of pieces together as to what the whole or the bigger picture is. Let's say when I would say when it comes to the feelings and emotions behind whoever, whatever it is that you came to this reading for. The Kipper deck, which is the second card underneath, is going to give us an idea of either the things involved based on the card, the way you're feeling based on the card, or what to remember or consider based on the card. The Divine Doorway on the top is going to just give us a little extra, let's say, a spiritual boost or a little spiritual love to help keep us continuing on our path. Then we're going to look into the tarot to see what's going on based on what has already been expressed. And then if there's anything else that we feel that we haven't gotten enough answers for, or I feel like we need a little bit more digging, I will definitely do that. Okay, my pile one, let's see what's going on in your life. Wow, we have Destiny. I'm hearing destiny is at play right now. There is an amalgamation and a convergence of all your past selves. They're mastering in this life is what I'm getting. There is a merging of past skills that are being activated in this next phase of your life. You have a lot of ancestors guiding and protecting you. 6 of them. You are encapsulated in this beautiful golden egg, and you are emerging, and you're halfway there. Destiny is at play. So I feel that there is a completion's not the right word. It's like the maturing of all past experiences and past selves that I talked about, that is merging and evolving, and that you're almost fully there. You're halfway there. There's 2 more elements that are being worked on currently that are going to help with this, like I said, not a completion, but this maturing of the cycle for you to step onto the new part of your journey. There's a big heart activation, a heart awakening, and a solar plexus healing. Right now, your ancestors and spirits are working on the solar plexus part, as you in the physical right now in the 3D are working on the heart chakra part. So the 2 parts that I'm talking about is what's being matured. It's what's being studied, integrated, understood, examined, loved, and then expressed. You have a deep wanting to share and to give. And right now, Spirit wants you to give to yourself right now. Currently, excuse me. Yeah, you're being poured with this golden, beautiful, shimmering light. It's emerging from, it's penetrating from your crown chakra, above that, but from your crown chakra right down into, for you right now, the sacral, the solar. It feels like you've worked on the root, or you're working on the root and it's in progress, so it's balanced. Even if you feel that financially you may not be in that balanced place or stable in some way, shape, or form, it means that your focus has been on it enough that it's in the right motion and in the right flow. Same with your sacral. So now into this solar plexus now, that we are illuminating that part Spirit is with a whole bunch of green light, even though it's, again, the healing of the solar, and you're working on the healing of the emergence of this feeling of your heart chakra, of being able to energetically share love in situations or circumstances or with people that you, in your past, I don't think you would have either had that much patience for, or didn't, or wasn't in a place in yourself for you to be able to feel that calm, to be able to give that love. There's a beautiful emergence of yourself here, my beauty. Okay. We have mature man. The destiny and mature man. One of your guides could be a masculine energy. It could be a family member, also somebody who's passed. It could just be somebody in your life that's helping you, or there's a part of the motivation. It could be also that merging with that heart chakra. You've been giving some love to a person that's older than you, let's put it that way. And it doesn't necessarily, I want to say a person that's older than you in age, specifically. That's what they said to say. It doesn't matter emotionally or spiritually. If they're younger than you, we're talking about specifically about human age, human numbers. So there's it could have something to do with that. Your destiny involves this mature man. It could be helping heal this mature man that might be like this. They're bringing you to the globe. They're like, that might be able to awaken some parts of your remote healing. Like you'll discover one of these gifts that might come up is what I'm getting at, that you might discover this remote healing ability that you have because of this particular mature man that this heart chakra was opening towards. This is a hypothetical, just giving you an example. This mature man can be anything that has history, time, but it does specifically talk about people in this deck, so hence why I'm giving you this reference. So it feels like this person that you're working on opening the heart chakra towards and giving healing to in some way that they needed, that you felt that they needed, and I know that you felt it in your soul, and you gave that, and then this person received it, and I feel like either this is gonna happen or it already has happened and you're like, that's weird, and you just sort of brushed it off. But there's something about that recognition of the feeling effect on the other end. You'll get they just like squeeze my palm. They're like, yes, that's correct. It's a part of your destiny, a part of your gift that is blossoming into your destiny. The divine doorway, Anthony's call. It says, in thanks of my spirit, safe and sound, all things that are lost, so can be found. And I think that's why, two things, why they were echoing to me that you're almost finished completing of collecting all the parts of your past self to emerge into this maturity, to finish off this particular part of your journey, to emerge into the evolution and be gifted with these new gifts, technically, be gifted with these new psychic gifts or intuitive development. And this mature man can have some sort of symbology of something that your heart has been wanting, which is why I was talking about that heart chakra opening up towards this person, thing, whatever. And it's that call, right? That call of spirit, that this is safe to do this, that it will be received well and it will come back. In the sense of that love will be received back because you'll be so happy to have helped, to have given, and therefore, any genuine act of kindness in turn you'll receive that back. And it perpetuates them to do more kindness towards others, which that ripple effect is what we want. That's the destiny. Beautiful. Okay, let's see what this one says. Triumph. Yeah, you do. This is the Chariot. Sorry, this was the Wheel of Fortune on the tarot. Triumph. Oops. That's right. You are triumphing. You are triumphant. This is what I just heard. And you are, again, vigilant, wow. Diligently pursuing your goal. You're heading in the direction of your destiny, right? Because look at the way this rider is looking at the destiny, you know? And looking at that answer, Anthony's call of being triumphant in whatever it is that you are seeking to manifest, seeking to align with, seeking to understand. It's all found in you, and that is what you're doing. Spirit is helping with this energy, of course. As you do your part, they do their part. And this is why you're being gifted with this triumph, with this victory, with this direction forward, with this knowing, with clear precision and determination. They keep bringing me up to the word vigilante, which is why I want to say vigilant when I want to say diligent. This vigilante energy. So I can't fully remember what the definition of vigilante is, but it's the Robin Hoods, you know? Technically, it's the people that, you know, step up when shit's going down. The ones that are ready and willing to fight for when injustices have been done after they've given the appropriate amount of time, or let's say the most understanding amount of time to be able to rectify, fix, correct, listen, and now it's like, no more. It's my turn to take lead. Vigilante. Definition, it says, a member of a self-appointed group of citizens who undertake law enforcement in their community without legal authority, typically because the legal agencies are thought to be inadequate. This is exactly what I'm getting at. It's like, no more of me like playing it small and following these type of rules or being subject to my old programming. It's time for me to triumph in my own life and follow my own call. To mature in my own destiny and follow my path. I love that. Yeah. Fucking Spirit's the best. You get courthouse. Decision is made. Or you're already at that decision point. It's like legal papers done. My argument has been established. I know exactly what I'm fighting for. I know what I'm going towards. I know what the objective is. And I have Spirit and the law on my side is almost what I'm getting. Even though it might have been stuff that has been corrupt in your world, environment, family, love, etc. Society at large, for that matter. Especially in our times right now, globally. And that might be why the destiny about this remote healing, it could be a, you know, asking you literally to go into energy healing like Reiki and all those beautiful modalities that they have. Absolutely. But they're talking about there is an innate gift that you have, that you do that naturally when you are generally in your intent of wanting to heal something. So that power that you harness, that you already are born with, is strong. So when you're ready, or as they say, the teacher will appear when the student is ready, or when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, whatever way that's actually written, is that feeling. It's like that integration. I think once this amalgamation, like I said, is almost complete. I don't even think like fully complete. I think something, someone, meaning that a book could be that information or that teacher. It could be an actual person who has a specialty in a specific area of spirituality that you're wanting to further develop. It could be you binge watching a whole bunch of historic events, documentaries, Greek mythology is what I just heard, ancient civilizations, alien races. It's all of that stuff. It's a galactic, global kind of warrior energy that is coming out of you, which is leading you, which the impetus is coming from your past lives, your past experience, and the destiny to triumph over this inadequacies that are happening around you or in the world. Oh my God. Group 1, what is happening? Group 1, this is your door. Guess what it says? Motherfucking destiny. One door closes, another opens for you. Let the plans of destiny unravel true. This is exactly, look at this. They brought it right back. Destiny. This is unreal. I don't even have anything more to add to that. It's literally just a reiteration of, yeah, you're right. This is what you're doing. This is a part of the destiny. This is a part of your path. This is a part of your lineage. It's in your blood to be this vigilante. Because you're fighting for the spiritual fight. You're fighting the good fight. In other words, the balance fight. Not the light, not the dark. It's the balance. What is the neutrality between? Where do we all sit? Humanity and other civilizations. Different belief systems, ideologies, and ways of being. How can we find a way to cohabitate truthfully and peacefully and gracefully? This is a part of your destiny. You're a part of that ripple. Yummy. Okay. Next card. Beautiful. We have Shadow. Shadow, which is the moon. You had 3 major arcanas pop out. Wowzer. I'm getting this amazing reflection of talking about your past selves and past lives. I'm feeling like this handing of the torch, you know? And that torch of being of information, knowledge, wisdom, for you to carry on that legacy like we talked about. That passing of the torch, it feels to me that the shadow version of you, meaning your past self, the reflection of you, the echo, the fractal, that still exists within the same time, but does not, is passing the torch to you, that is living currently in this dimension right now, handing you that wisdom to be able to look at the self, to be able to integrate the self, to merge it into the being of where you are currently on this earth, this globe. And there's like a determination and will to succeed. It's like, I got this. And it's almost like I'm ready now. That's what I'm feeling. I'm ready now. That yin and yang, the light and the shade, that balance that I was just talking about, they just brought me back to that. Because I just saw the moon and the sun on their coats. That beautiful helix strand of universal connection, of perfection. And also they just brought me to the words. They said, destiny to triumph over your shadow sides, or your shadows. The destiny is to triumph over your shadows. And it's not even to triumph over it. They said the destiny is to triumph through your shadows, through the shadows. This is why you are this warrior. This is why you are the vigilante. This is why the maturation is needed and it's being called to you to do. So you can step fully and really take that torch. Ooh, that's so sweet. They just said we wouldn't be just giving this to anybody. They're like, there's a lot of people in your family we could have given this to. We chose to give it to you. I just heard thank you, I'm honored. So your higher self is ready to do this. Even if right now on the 3D you feel like you might not be able to, or you're hesitant about your own power or fortitude, Spirit's letting you know you weren't randomly selected. We chose you for a reason. So don't doubt that. This is your destiny. This is the call. There will be triumph. There will be victory. Ooh, lovely. Look at that. Main female. Main female. This is my viewer. Excuse me, regardless of sex or not. Yeah. So regardless of sex or not, or how you identify, that's not the point. The main the main person I'm reading this for is my viewer. So this is your energy. And that mature man, like I was saying, like it didn't feel like you in what I'm getting at. So this main female is what we talked about, integrating that shadow, the masculine and feminine side, the understanding of your power, the knowing that there is going to be this succession and progression of wisdom, of knowledge, of knowing, of teaching, of growing. You're already integrating that into yourself currently. They're asking you to keep going, even through your doubts and your what-if moments and your hesitations. I'm seeing the letter M and U, also C. And those letters, I just heard that they have more to do with the shadow. So either things being triggered by those initials. I got mom, I got close, I got the M names, the C names, whatever that is for you. Understanding with the U, like there was that lack because the U sort of flipped for me. So there's this lack of understanding. There's a part of that could be familial shadows and wounding and trauma that you've worked through, that you're still working through, but you've gotten to this place, like we said, of this emergence, and this is why Spirit is coming in to help with the solar, and you're working on the heart merger. Then we have bless this space. Talking about your shadow side, talking about bless this space. And that's within that space of you diving into that area of your life and honoring what you come out as and what you saw in that reflection, integrating that, like we said, into that beautiful strand of a new legacy to be reborn through your eyes. That is taking the wisdom of your past ancestors and lives and, like we said, amalgamating them into this being that is in this 3D reality, fully balanced, neutral. Bless this space. Your sacred space holds the soul to bear, Palo Santo or sage to clear the air. So, if you find yourself in scenarios or situations where you're feeling overwhelmed by some of the things that you encounter in your shadow, don't forget, once that work is done and you've exited that space, so to speak, that you clear your space and the energy in that room. Bells work nice, singing bowls, of course, Palo Santo, sage, salt, open the windows for a little bit, clear out that energy, and warm up the space after with sensu love, comforting feelings, very Taurus in that sense of luxury. All right, my beautiful, let us get into the tarot now. My stomach is rumbling, so. Okay, we have the Five of Cups. Five of Cups. Death. That's nice. Ooh. Seven of Swords. That's heavy. But you know what? It's a good heavy is what I'm saying. Like, this is the reason why you've actually leveled up, is because you have put to rest the poor me phases of your life. Like, you're no longer the accountability. That's what it is. It's the accountability that you have fully embraced, that you no longer allow yourself to get into this poor me for very long. I just heard, like, you sit there for like 5 minutes and you're out. Before it used to be like 5 months, you know, like that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting with this Five of Cups. But I was talking about this card the other day, and this lady's hands are clasped in the picture. It's almost like a pleading and a prayer, you know, it's a slight desperation. But as I was saying, there's people in the background that you can't fully see very well that are coming towards this place that I feel like this person is sort of like holding a candle for. But I think you've realized, is what I mean, this poor me phase. I think you've realized, like, what am I doing? Why am I here waiting, wallowing in this feeling of expectation, and I can do this for myself? So you let go of some of that emotional burdens you were holding when it comes to your own personal growth, your expansion in the world, maybe your actual material footing. But there's this like, no, I'm done with this. And I love the depiction of this death card. It's just so cute. It's just like, okay, what's next? You know, it's like, I'm done with this. And then you have this Seven of Swords that comes right after it. That's making me feel like, because death is in the center, it almost just feels like you're letting go of this emotional hold on you in some way of whatever the reason is why your heart chakra has been closed, why that solar plexus has been murky, you know? It's you putting an end to that suffering of the self when it comes to the emotional part of it and the mental side of it. That Seven of Swords talks about the thief in the night, but it also does talk about strategy. It talks about deceit, but talks about having enough, being like, it being enough, like enough is enough. I'm going to take what I need and leave the rest. You know, that's that kind of vibe. So with that death in the center, when we're talking about destiny and maturing, it's like, I'm not going to do the poor me pity party. I can see the thieves in the night now, and I'm very strategic. So anybody who tries to come at me, or even with it, if it's myself with my emotions, I can cut an end to it being like, bitch, I've been here, done that. I can see you from a mile away. I can cut that shit out right away. Been here, done that. What's next? The transformation is what's next, right? The evolution. This is why all of this is happening right now in your life. Then we have Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Queen of Pentacles in reverse underneath the Five of Cups. Before I say anything, let's continue. Four of Wands underneath Death. And Seven of Pentacles underneath the Seven of Swords. Yeah, it's the same feeling. It's like, I'm no longer giving into this part of my emotions. This poor me. I'm not nurturing this part of myself. I'm not going to give that any energy anymore. There's been a feeling of a reliance on something, some type of codependency, whether that be when it comes to recognition, feeling loved, being seen, that lack mentality of feeling unstable in a sense is why I referenced the root chakra being in the right alignment, or at least the right flow to get to the stability. And the Four of Wands being underneath Death, which is what I was talking about, this transformation to find that full stable footing. Again, coming back to the Queen of Pentacles, no longer putting into that emotional frequency so that I can step into my stability, but no longer needing to rely on anybody externally to bring in my own happiness and joy, to make my emotions be so affected that it affects my whole day or puts me in such a funk that I can't get out of it. it's a death to that. That Seven of Swords with the Seven of Pentacles is like I talked about, that strategy, that planning. That's exactly what Seven of Pentacles is you've already put that seed in the ground, and all you have to do right now is wait. Nurture it and wait. So we are no longer nurturing the emotional sides of the poor me. We are now nurturing into the strategy of being a little bit more realistic when it comes to what I can provide for myself. What I've already been accomplishing on my destiny. You know, where does my vigilante spirit? The doubt is, there is a little bit of hesitancy that you won't get there, but it's not nearly as strong as what I'm feeling from all of this. 3 major arcana is like, as much as there's free will, you got no control over this one. You already chose this. You're already on that path. So they don't just show up just to show up, you know, the major arcanas, especially in this deck. For me anyways. Yep. I'm also getting an energy of feeling tricked and manipulated or duped in the past when it comes to emotional connections. And like I said, the same thing still applies, right? The same lesson still applies, but there's that energy of feeling like I've given so much to so many people or so many things that why have I yet to find my person, my thing, you know? And what they're saying to me is like, you were looking at the wrong thing, not the wrong person, looking at the wrong part of the picture. So it's like the picture that you have co-created with universe when it comes to what you desire, if this is applicable for you, when it comes to romantic love, of what you desire is, let's say, again, this is just so it's simple, right? Like, let's say it's a picture of a tree. And there's like a beautiful landscape, there's a sun, there's like some animals in the back, there's some beautiful flowers, okay? But all you're looking at is the tree. So you get so hyper-focused on the tree that you forget that right now, it's not that tree. It's the acorn that's being planted from the tree that you're so heavily looking at. You know? Or it's like you're so focused on the tree but not realizing that like the sun is illuminating so many other things around it that makes that beautiful tree that much more beautiful. You know, it's like I hope that makes sense. It's like a bigger picture is what it is. It's like you might have been hyper-focused, like I said, on something very specific and disappointed in its in the way that it played out in your life when it comes to romantic partners, feeling like you're getting cheated, like nobody has any substance, it's just so very quick. You, the one getting emotionally hurt by it, just being like, fuck this shit, I'm done with this dating nonsense. I'm not going to give into this anymore. Maybe I'm never going to find love. Alright, let me just keep working on myself. Regardless, I still don't think that's a bad end result. I obviously, for me, I want love for everybody, especially if they want deep romantic love. I want that for people. I don't necessarily want marriage for people. Sorry if that offends people, but I don't necessarily need that. Never have, never really wanted it. I've always just wanted somebody to be my partner, to be my companion, and no sheet of paper in any freaking courthouse is gonna tell me that my love is real or not, or that I have to honor a bond based on a piece of paper when I can't honor that in myself. That's why I don't like holidays like Valentine's Day. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things that just sort of hit me wrong. And I've always been this way. Again, from a young kid. I just felt like I was always looking for my other half, is what I used to call it when I was younger. Or like, there's a part of me that's missing. There's something in here. That's what I used to say. There's something in here that's missing, or something hurts. Like, I used to say that a lot, and I obviously thought it was just puberty. In all fairness. And it very well could be. You know, but the point being was, like, I've always felt that call to find my person. And I've been on that search for that love, that remembrance, that echoing of, and I've been so close, not even so close. I've been at different stages of the evolution of that type of love, is what my point is. You know, so from that beginning stages of whenever you felt that young love, puppy love, and I'm talking about whatever age, depending on what type of kid you were, what your environment was, all of this is different, right? But specifically when it comes to me, it was I remember my first crush was in like grade 1 or senior kindergarten, like no joke. So, and I mean crush like, oh my God, that person's so beautiful, I want to kiss them. So we did. You know, like you're young, you're like, I like you, and you kiss them. It's just so free and open, right? So that point being is that I've been on that search and haven't forgotten about that feeling of love. Maybe because my specific dynamic at home was still very supportive. Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking smack, but it was not what I needed for my soul. Sorry, it wasn't in the way that I needed for my soul when it comes to the emotional support, specifically, especially as a water sign that has an air moon, you know? So like the fantasy and logic, you know, and that me getting lost, and this is what I'm getting at, just getting lost in the feeling of the fantasy and maybe believing like, maybe this is not going to happen for me. Maybe I'm not going to get that. Maybe I'm wishful thinking, but Spirit's saying, no, my love. All of this has been leading you towards this destiny, whether it takes a longer time in your mind, hence the mature man, longevity, age, time, history, patience, you know, to get to what that ultimate goal is, the wait will be worth it. Because you wouldn't have, I was going to say wasted time, but that's not, they didn't want me to say that. You feel like you wasted time in certain parts of your life. Let's say in particular years of your life. There's certainly like, oh, if I spend those years a little bit more constructive or smart in a sense, but you didn't have hindsight then. You were living your full glorious self as what you should be doing, and which is why you're even here now. The point being is like where you felt you might have been lacking behind or stagnant, because you took that time to really understand that, it propelled you into not skipping steps, but speeding through steps, because you integrated so much of it from a heavier place, from the shadow space. So let's say that everybody's like, we're going to go by school years, like 1 year, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, boom. But let's say that you got to 1, 2, and 3, but you're like, oh, but I'm not really absorbing anything. Let's say you got held back for a year. I'm not using school as the analogy. I'm using that as a metaphorical life school analogy, right? So you had to stay in level 3 for however long. You got to level 4, then you got to level 5. You're like, oh my God, all this just makes sense. Click, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like it goes that quick. That's the feeling that I'm getting. So do not be hard on yourself for the time it's taken you to get here, even though it's not exactly where you want to be, but it's exactly where you should be, and you're on the right path. Okay, let's see what's happening underneath. Triumph. Temperance. Page of Wands. 9 of Cups. That's lovely. Yeah, that triumph, right? Because you found that balance within the self. You're ready now to start a new version, a new journey, a new part of the path that is leading into your wish fulfillment, into this luxurious state of being. Of being emotionally open to be able to offer anything that you'd like when it comes to that heart space that will be way more open and giving in the sense of emotions, you know, specifically emotions. But in general, there is that destiny that is opening up for you. This beautiful balance, again, this temperance, this shadow side, that yin and yang energy that we talked about, this destiny, that 9 of Cups, that fulfillment of that Page of Wands, that ready to start off on this path, this the action steps that have been implanted of knowing what to do, like we talked about in the courthouse. The plan has been laid. What do we get? 8 of Wands. And it's coming in quick, this triumph, right? Once this is, like, it's not even once this, it's in the process of being fully integrated. But once this is truly solidified, let's say, the speed, like I was talking about, that succession, the succession, it speeds up. This is what I'm saying. It speeds up. Then we have 6 of Cups. again, with this nostalgia, right? And memories of the past or history, destiny. Again, this reciprocity, this balance, this merging with the self. Ready to step forward with that plan based on past information like we talked about. Beautiful. Oh man, look at that. The Lovers. When I was just talking about romantic love too, hey? Wow. Yeah, man, it's almost like the triumph of whatever it is you're going through right now, you have actually completed the hardest part already. So what you're dealing in with is this death card that keep bringing back to this boredom of waiting, like, when is it coming? I just need a change, you know? Like, I've been doing everything I can to keep myself occupied and busy and growing, but I'm like, fuck, I need something. I need something to hold on to just to give me a little bit of boost, you know? And it's coming in. It's totally coming in. They're just like, wait just a little bit longer. Just fill up the space, right? And anyway, sorry. Fill up the space. They're just chatting. 8 of Wands just so coming in very quickly. This merging with the past self and the Lover, right? And as I was talking about, I was not talking about that, was I? Sort of. I was talking about being cheated on or thievery or stuff like that. And this beautiful Lover's card, this one, he's directly focused on his lady. And there's that brunette in the back, right? And the way that she's looking at them. Like, I feel like there's a genuine happiness for them, but it feels like, you know when, what would I say? It's like, I feel like it's a little bit more depicted in older sci-fi or mythological movies, is there's always like the temptation, let's say, to veer off your path, to get so indulgent in the wish, you know, which is that drunkenness of your own ego, so to speak, right? If there is that, in those depictions, there can be this temptress, in a sense, that comes on your path. As we all know, this doesn't matter what guise this temptress comes in, to see if you're truly dedicated to what you're doing. And the focus that they have on each other, it is like a hell motherfucking yes. I don't even see this. And there is like thorns that separate that person from your love. It's like the lesson has truly, truly been learned now. And I'm not necessarily talking about specific cheaters, like literal cheaters in your life that are, you know, can't think without their cock. You know, pardon my language, excuse me. But I'm more talking about you feeling like you're the second choice. Like, why haven't I been chosen yet, in a sense? Ooh, I feel that. I understand that feeling. Meaning like chosen from my partner. Why haven't I found my partner is more the energy. Why haven't I found the person who I'm supposed to be with? And I feel like I was talking about this slow progression of what's been happening. You know, it's like there's something that is finishing up right now. And once that's finished up, everything speeds freaking forward like hella fast. That's a part of that destiny. Just trust that. And I was talking about the vines in between, right? The vines in between. If you can see this here, that separation between him and her, there's vines here, and they're growing stronger. So whatever interferences that were happening in your life have now been done. Like, they're done. The lesson is learned. It's done. It's done. It's done. That death. Ooh, that's great. That's freaking awesome. Amazing. Okay. I wasn't intending this reading to be that long, but I love it. For the shadow side over here, we have the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords. The Moon. Holy moly. The Hierophant. Those are some heavy hitters too, my friend. Wow. Okay, so the Queen of Swords, like we talked about, is getting to the truth of the matter of, again, moon on moon. Like, it is about the shadow self and of using the intuition of the integration of that contract and lineage that we talked about, the precision and directness of that Queen of Swords, a little bit of needing some hard love, some hard discipline when it comes to, not even needing, sorry, you've needed to be this with yourself to be able to cut through your shadow side, to break that veil, to see yourself, to be able to receive the information from your lineage, from your past selves, from your ancestors, trusting in that intuition, to honor the contract. With that Hierophant. My friend, you're on a big glow up, and I feel that I feel that you don't feel like anything's really happening, but when I say to you that you have done your job, and right now you are literally in the gestation period, and within that gestation period, they're asking you, it's about the heart. Keep sharing. Keep studying. Be your own vigilante. Trust in your path, in the destiny that's unfolding, in the lessons that are being presented to you for you to have been able to get to this part right now, today, here. I'm proud of you. Honest to God, I am proud of you. Oh my goodness. Jeez. The High Priestess. Are you kidding? Like the counterpart to the Hierophant. Again, this knowing of what you needed to do to cut through to the shadow, trusting in the intuition. This is heavy spiritual. Yeah, and right beside that Lovers, the Queen of Swords, that Hierophant partner, that Six of Cups, the Nine of Cups, that Four of Wands. Like, there's a lot of movement into this. It's almost like shedding an old skin, being reborn in a sense to get what you want from who you want. I actually feel they just said that is for your highest good. That merges you into this trusting of the vigilante spirit in yourself, of leveling up much quicker in this next set of, in the next part of your journey or on your path that leads you into this crazy spiritual level up. Like, it's like this is, let me put it this way. Let's say it's from 1 to 6 is this level here. This is from the 7 is the in between, is what I was talking about. There is this gestation period, spiritual gestation, 7, and then 8, 9, 10 of levels all happens here. This is the triumph, the understanding, the cultivation, the balance. All of this gets integrated here, and then the 11, 12 up, all the way up. 12 chakras, right? 11, 12, maybe that's it, and higher, which is, again, I know the High Priestess is 2, but it's looking like the 11, right? But this beautiful knowing of what you needed to do to get to this blessed space, to get to this trusting of your intuition, to honoring that contract with the self, with spirit, and eventually with the other. The contract of the heart, the merging of the heart. King of Wands. King of Wands. I just heard fathering yourself. Be the father you didn't have. And I don't want to make that as a rude comment. I want to make sure that I'm very clear and sensitive. If you had an amazing dad, that is all gravy. So obviously this doesn't apply, but it's talking about a parenting of yourself in the sense of, even if you did have the amazing dad, they cannot be there like they were for you when you were 9, let's say, or 6, or even 15 for that matter. So it's like, how do I take that energy, that support I got from that archetype, and bring it into my study, bring it into my intuition, bring it into my knowledge, bring it into my voice, bring it into my bloodline and my legacy, into my teachings, into my spiritual growth. I'm going to be the father of my own world. Lovely. and King of Pentacles. Like, talk about stable, grounded, father of your own world, right? And that's where you end up, underneath that Hierophant, right? So the Queen of Swords with the High Priestess, we talked about that knowing of what to do. The King of Wands is of trusting the intuition, of being able to do that for self, of looking within to be able to move in the same energy that you admired in this type of energy for you, or in those type of energies or frequencies. And then the Hierophant with the King of Pentacles is, again, trusting in that contract, that lineage of being gifted this opportunity and honor to carry on a legacy that is now being evolved into something better, something more fulfilling, something more neutral, not so one-sided, not so dogmatic. Oh my goodness, this is super long but super thorough. That's amazing. Okay, so to close off your reading, we're going to look underneath each deck for one card. If we get prompted to do more, that'll be it. So since these are on the top, we have Forget, Forgive, and Forget. A ritual cleansing of pain and lies. Arise and waken. See a new sunrise. Forgive and forget. So that's what that is letting go of all of this stuff here. You know, releasing what the past has tried to imprint on you. Then we have the Kipper deck underneath. Concern 33. To release the concern that you won't get there, right? To release the shadow self that might be in that state of doubt or wonder or what will happen, in a sense. It's to trust in the divine plan. Underneath the throat chakra, a lot of fives for you, lots of changes. Throat chakra, speaking up, like we said, cutting out what we needed to do, being truthful in your movements, being truthful with yourself and the people who are involved in your life, making sure that they're truthful with you. And the last card is the Eight of Pentacles. That's right, keep working, my babes. Do not give up. You're almost there. Remember, we talked about in that gestation period, the Eight of Pentacles is coming in soon. Oh my God. Yes, it is. I do want to give you one oracle card to fully close this off and send you off with so much love. So let's get that oracle card. I want to thank you for your patience in getting through this reading. I hope that it was helpful for sure in some way, or was entertaining, or at least enjoyable to watch. If you found it useful, please give it a like. That would be extremely helpful, since I'm extremely new to YouTube and I would love to be able to reach more people. Subscribe if you feel so inclined. Sending you so much love. Okay, my pal one, what does Spirit want to close this reading off for you and say about what's happening in your life? Arrow. Surround yourself with protective energy. I heard you are surrounded by protective energy. And that is this releasing of this right now, right? Of this stability in self. Knowing that you are protected and guided because you're on your destiny right now. All right, last one. Here we go. Sage, be devoted and committed exactly to your destiny. You are protected. You're on the right path. Give yourself protective energy. They talked about cleansing your space, right? So that Palo Santo, sage, bells, chimes, music, air it out. We talked about that. So they're echoing to that. Trust and thrive, stag. So, my beautiful pile one, I'm sending you off to have an amazing life and an amazing day, and I will hopefully see you again back here on Lotusthesage. Ciao. Hello, Pal 2. I'm going to have to apologize in the beginning for the jackhammering outside. If it gets crazy, I will just stop. I'll try to find some music that overlays so that it's not so intrusive. Again, my apologies. Thank you. So we're going to go into a reading about the dynamics of what's happening in your life right now, any area of your life, romantic, work, soul mission, etc. I feel like it'll, based on Pile 1, it'll give you a pretty encompassed reading. It's very long, so I suggest that you make sure you have some time to listen to this. So the Psychic Tarot deck, the purple cards, is going to give us the sort of overall energy of what's been happening in your life. And as we progress, you will see this echo sort of back to one another, which sort of makes the whole reading a little bit more complete and well-rounded. And then the Kipper deck is going to give us either people or things involved, emotions behind what the card references. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Please keep an open mind when I'm receiving messages, either that be through what I see, what I hear, or how I'm feeling. So just use your discretion. It's just about the way that they're giving me an analogy to express it and explain it to you. And then you have your divine doorways, which is going to give us a little extra spiritual boost, just to, I guess, sort of give us a hug and a pat on the back to keep going, you know, I want along the path that you're on. Then the tarot cards are going to give us the bulk of what's happening in the situations, or in multiple situations, or in your life. We'll just piece it together. And then we'll look at the bottom of the deck energy for each deck at the very end and get a guidance card. So this probably will be about an hour. Okay, I'm going to try and just get into a little bit of it. Let's see what we can do. We have disruption. There's been a necessary crumbling and releasing of old patterns, old ways of being, old relationships, and it's bringing me back to how you were technically built, in other words, how you were raised. And they're emphasizing on this card how the bricks or the apparent fragments don't line up. And because of that instability in its structure, it needs to crumble. You've been holding on very tightly to this ideology, version of yourself, holding on to past hurts that are keeping you stuck in this metaphorical prison. You see how all of these fragments, or bricks, however you see them, are just shifted off, and how tightly he's grasping onto holding on to this. But if you see in his face, if you can, it's almost like this really heavy protection on the self that is preventing you literally from breaking free out of this. Or was, I should say was, not is. It can be is if this is still your feeling and where you are currently. They're bringing me to the navel of this man, and how the laces on his shirt create that X. And it's making me go to the navel, which is about that birthing, about how you were raised, right? The start of the creation of you. So a part of these building blocks that have constructed the being that you have been up until this point is no longer in alignment with what your soul would like to experience and how it wants to grow. This green and blue throat and heart chakra embodiment of that energy is what is wanting to envelop the crumbling. It wants to take, it's almost like it's making me, excuse me, they're giving me the mineral of clay, and once you put it into that water, it just, it melts away, so to speak. It's asking to wash it away. Because you've been restraining yourself, which is probably why they're blocking my throat chakra. You've been restraining yourself from really truly experiencing and feeling love, from not communicating your truth, for fear and lack of safety and confidence to not be able to express your genuine emotions, thoughts, feelings. You've been restricted for a very long time. Yes, you have, because they're making me feel a sort of a baptism in a sense, because I actually have not really paid attention to this card legs portion of it, and from a certain angle, this person is still standing, but where I was looking at it, it looked like he was kneeling at the water. Right now there's no water here, it's light, but this is what it's symbolizing to me. It's kneeling at this water, and this restricting self, like this crossing of the hands to still protect. Like, I'm still unsure I'm ready to go through this transition, to go through this journey, to let go of these old versions of myself, to realign myself, to find my own happiness. This tower energy, which is what this card is. And that 7, it being about a spiritual awakening, a necessary shift from spirit to get you back in alignment, to bring you back home, to surrender to your divinity, to the divinity of your sovereign self, to release the hold you have on yourself, free it from your mind. There's a feeling of almost being a little, they are giving me the words, overly indulgent in the cerebral matters. And the lower half of your energetic system has been very dormant or left in the dark, not attended to, which is giving you this uncomfortability in your body. So you end up transferring or pushing into the cerebral, trying to find solutions to things instead of sitting with yourself. They said, be at peace, dear one. Surrender to the infinity that is you. You have what it takes to get through this mess, budding into a new flower, shedding the skin of your old patterns, and emerging with your new realizations. Okay, let's see, community. It feels like there's been a disruption in your environment, in your close environment. That could be, like they said, very literally your community, the people that surround you. I also feel like the people that you may have trusted the most in your life, or that have had the most, let's say, staying power in your life. There's been a really big disruption and an eye-opening experience for you in that area of your life. You've had to figure out different ways to navigate within this system now, that you've come to the realization that you cannot fit here, and which is why the fragmented, unaligned self is. It's like, I don't sit here anymore. There's something for me that doesn't work in the way that I, again, would like to evolve. Also, they're saying that regardless of your 3D environment doesn't feel as supportive as it once had, that we still have you up here, which is right here. There's no up here, they were saying, they're like, we still have you. So, and there are people that will come in to fill in this new community because your frequency will now be at a match for you to find your own alignment with others of like alignment, of like intention, of like mind. There will be, or there has been, a pullback to old energies and past energies, which is a part of a hard lesson, which is why that tower is there, to make you see more clearly how your piece of the puzzle isn't with that puzzle. Like you've been trying to fit your piece of the puzzle into a different landscape. And even though you might have been born of the landscape, so to speak, your shape has transformed and transmuted into a different shape. I hope this metaphor makes sense. And even trying to fit it in, it's like, but this is where I normally go. Like this is where I sit. And I think that's part of that resistance, that restraint, that you're not, that you may not have been seeing how much you have changed. And you coming back to this environment, I think, will allow you more clarity on how you got structured that way, so to speak. How the programming sort of got built, that umbilical cord again. It's very interesting. That's not an easy lesson. And I can say this with a lot more common ease because I have been through this already, and not even to say once, like multiple times, with family, with friends. And I will definitely agree, there's always somebody to fill that space that is better suited to the energy that you are emitting, hands down. And that's not just one person, it's people. Sometimes it can be just one person, it can be an animal, it can be a hobby or a thing, but there is that thing that comes in that does, in a sense, fill you up bigger than you were getting filled in the first place. I'm getting a heavy, like, masculine energies is what I'm feeling in this. Regardless of gender, there's a heavy masculine dominance here. I'm hearing there's been some sort of like false pride that was masqueraded somehow. How do you mean? They're saying like they're like behind closed doors, nobody really knew what was really going on. And they're not trying to make it seem like something like uber sinister. It's just sort of like the appearances on the outside were definitely not the same as the feelings on the inside. Everybody outside of the home, quote unquote, outside of that, we were perceived a certain way. I was perceived a certain way. Our whole family dynamic was perceived a certain way. And in reality, that perception did not match up with what was my feeling in the home. So there's, again, a keeping up of appearances sort of energy. There's believing a false narrative. That's what I'm getting at. And that's contributed to the destruction in the perceptions, that mental, cerebral, the overstimulation of the cerebral energies. That's what they were talking about. And the reason why I'm getting this like behind closed doors thing is it's almost it's giving me this feeling of, possibly like mother, father, son, and then behind the door it feels like father older, son older, and that son's face is not as pleasant as that little boy in the back here. Not to say that they can't be different people, but this is the energy that they're giving me because it's far in the background and it's lit very differently, It just makes me wonder about that, how that community in your perception has contributed to the need for this disruption of the perception of the self, of the realignment, of realizing that you don't want to continue in that fashion anymore because it does not make you happy. It's keeping you constrained, withheld, not being able to experience things on the grander sense of love and excitement leads to the anxiety, the depressions. I just want you to know that there is still a community out there that will better support this transition that you're going through, this call from spirit, from your spirit too, to wake up, to come out of the fog, to step into your light, to let it crumble. This is your divine doorway. It says sunset. Time here turns to release and unfurl. Old cords of pain fade as the sunlights burn. As the sun's light burns. That's right. Let me read that again. Sunset. Time here turns to release and unfurl. Old cords of pain fade as the sun's light burns. And this is what the passing of time, this is what that light illumination is behind here on this card. That light that I'm seeing at the back of this card here. You know, it's like allowing this difficult moments, the difficulties in these transitions to remind you of where you're going, which is to that sunset, to the coming back home to self, to the comfortability in your own skin, to loving yourself and things more deeply and people more deeply. Allow for this disruption. Okay, let's go into the next card. How fitting. Trapped in fear. Of course, this is completely understandable about this feeling of hopelessness, or I can't get out of this, or I want to get out of this, or what did I do? This, all those negative thoughts again. The disruption will bring in those feelings. And because it feels like you have been suppressing, ignoring, or not acknowledging your feelings, your roots, your impulses, your self-expression, the way you love, how you speak, how you think, it has trapped you in this place because you feel like, I don't know where I fit, because you've been playing this game for so long. You've been playing this role in a particular game that you no longer want to play. This is the Eight of Swords in your head, but you are, same reference when we talked about this disruption of what's happening in the cerebral. There's an overactivity of that. You are not caged in anything besides the way that you are thinking about things, which is the most difficult part, is the perception. How do we switch our perception? And unfortunately, which is not helpful, and I'm very aware, it's a matter of choice. Straight goods. Like, where you can use that phrase in a more productive and healthy manner, fake it till you make it, is in the convincing of the self. I need to convince myself that something is exciting about where I'm at right now. That something is like, wow, I have been in an illusion for a very long time, and I have now stepped out of this illusion, and it's fucking scary. It's like a huge culture shock. How do you adjust to that? You have to slowly absorb and be the observer. And when you can be the observer in your own life, you get to be able to recognize, these are the moments, these are the points. I know where I can travel to now, to be excited about fixing these apparent rigid edges of your life, personality, how you may view your character flaws, your work, your speech, etc. You can look at them now. That's exciting, to be able to know how to fix something. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. I do not care. Everybody wants to fix something to make it feel good, generally speaking. And whatever way that is, even on the spectrum of the most distorted of ways to the most healthy of ways, there's something about wanting to fix. And whether that's, again, when we talk about distorted ways, it's we end up finding, possible surrogate people or things to fill roles so that we can play it out better or differently or the way that we perceived it. Again, that's a spectrum of crazy boots peeps, you know what I'm getting at, to people who are like, how am I using this negative experience to not perpetuate that fear that it created in me, or that blockage that I had to fight so hard to get out of, right? That is a spectrum of how we choose to see. And if we allow ourselves to stay here for too long in the heaviness of what we have already done, which is already past and which is already here. It's in the present. So if I'm here in the present now, knowing this, it is now a choice for me to choose to either stay here or take that motherfucking step and let's see what happens, which is that fool energy. Get off that cliff. Of feeling that it's one or the other. It is a matter of, I have a choice now. It's always been that. You do not have to stay here. So, that's all I can say, if you can find the excitement in how you can mend yourself, that is the gift. Your community will come in and be shedding that sunlight on the matter, sunlight, for you to break free. Break free. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, pile 2. This is what I'm saying. You were believing a false you were or are or were were believing a false version of yourself. You have been misled for too long, that it didn't allow you to solidify your authentic self at an age where it was very critical. They're giving me 8 years old, the 8th year after something happened, 8th month, 8th day. The letter S, the letter N may be significant. It's the same feeling. You've been afraid and you are fearful of not being able to get out of this way of being or detect these people anymore. Like, you're like, who can I trust then? Like, if all of my life I have been, let's say, duped in a sense because of my belief system, then who was really there for me? Who was actually looking out for me? And then again, that brings you back to the what? Oh my God, fuck, the heaviness of it. I get it. I know this is, shit, man, I get it. It's just, it's the point is you have the perception now. You have the recognition and the awareness of this is what it is. That's the saving grace here. This is what it is. So either I accept it and move forward, or I allow myself to stay. Ultimately, again, it's your choice. Feeling very heavy masculine energies with this reading. Okay, you got 2 divine doorways for this one. No wonder. I almost didn't take the second card because I was only going to take one. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to honor it because it felt right. Because I almost put it over here. And I was like, no, it was supposed to be with this one. So let's see. I understand. Trapped in fear, false person. We have this door. It says 3 of Cups. A toast to friendship in the afternoon sun. 3 cups in happiness. 3 cheers are done. It's making me, oh man. Like, I'm also getting like, it's not even just family in your community. It's been your love relationships also. Like, especially in that area of your life. Like, you have realized either that you have been the false person in these scenarios, which is, we've already established some of that being a very fair possibility, but also because of that false personality, you attracted false versions, but real versions, real echoes of yourself, which now you're like, oh my God, did I actually Like, I didn't even see myself reflected in these people that I was attracting, or who I was attracted to, or the reasons why. Very like 3-party situations, very non-committal, very fuck boy, fuck girl energy, very dismissive, detached. And I feel like that's for both. And it was always about the party, the celebration, the fun. There was no real substance when it comes to the depth of getting to know somebody and genuinely loving somebody. Because I don't think that you knew what that was if this scenario in some way echoes to you about this community of behind closed doors. It wasn't quite so pretty from my perspective growing up, you know? Interesting. Yeah, very fast. In and out energy is what I'm getting. Let's see what the second door says. Intuition. Simple, complex words of pain or words that heal. You come to know truth by the way that it feels. Woo! How brilliantly perfect for that. I understand. You're like, I don't know if I can trust my intuition because of how false everything has been in my life. How do I know that my intuition isn't leading me in the same direction that I was before? How you know is because you're aware now. There's a difference. You've recognized the parts of you in your life that were contributing to the need for this disruption. So now that there's a bit more clarity when it comes to what's happening in your life behind the scenes, because you may have been closed off to wanting to see it, you've now opened that door. You've opened your eyes, in a sense, and you're seeing where all of this frivolity and haughtiness created this sense of falsity in your life. And when you know truth, this is what they're saying, this is how you can tell also. You will feel it. There's this sense of like, You may not be able to express it in a word. It's just it's an actual feeling. Like when it came to certain truths or certain new information that you don't really have a reference for, there's something that rings true if you're sitting in the right place. That's not in your brain. It's not in your mind. It's in your body that you feel it 112%. So Spirit is working on bringing this sunset in for you, like we talked about, for you to realize what's been happening, which you have, and to remind you of what intuitive nudges feel like for you, and to trust them a little bit more now, knowing that you have a better perspective on what's happening. Nice. Okay, let's see the next one. Sacrifice, which is the Hanged Man. Interesting, pile 1 and 2. Pile 1 had all 3 major arcana, and you have 2. There's a lot of heavy energies that are happening in the collective right now, man. This is crazy. And one feels very much light, one feels very much shadow, but this emergence, it's beautiful. This rainbow, love it. Okay, when I kept referencing, or as I keep bringing up perspective, and sacrifice, the Hanged Man is exactly about that. A traditional depiction of the Hanged Man is a person hanging by their foot, supposedly voluntarily, for them to be able to have a different intake of information, looking at the same thing through a different angle, a different perspective. And that perspective, they're bringing me to the rainbow, that rainbow energy of healing, of seeing all angles of this prism of light, and how each color is a different echo of the same light. So, when I was, they just brought me to this, sorry. they're all, I'm gonna try and calm down, okay. When I was talking about this clay disruption over here, and it sort of melting away, I was hesitant to use the word murky or muddy, because they sort of like paused, they're like, just wait for that part. And I see now why. Because the sacrifice here, the water is all murky and brown. And she's immersing herself in the darkness of her emotions, in the shadow self, in the disruption, in the fear, in the recognition of, for her to emerge reborn with that rainbow crystalline energy. Shedding of those layers and feathers. That's interesting. That's exactly what I saw. The way that these white pieces of fabric look like petals that are dropping into the water. That's exactly how I saw it when I was talking about shedding a skin and blossoming a flower. That's literally, but it was a snake that was shedding petals. That's cool. That trinity with self and spirit. You've learned a lot though, but now it's like I'm getting like I see now. Like I can see it now. I can see where my traps have been. I can see where I have put myself in harm's way on purpose. And I have see where I have not been listening to myself. I'm ready. Both groups are in the same energy, like I'm ready. Not even both groups. Theirs was an emergence from halfway down, so is yours. Yours is about the depths of your emotion and your shadow, full, like the dark sides of yourself, like no joke. And that dark side can be in any area of your life, whether that be very deep back into your familial past. It could be about a specific event or situation that happened in your life, but there is something that has been a thorn in your side, let's say. Not even a thorn, I would say like a dagger in your side for a long time that you've been ignoring. They're giving me old school men. Sorry guys, no disrespect, but old school men that don't want to go to the hospital. They're fine. Nothing's wrong with them. And like you realize, unfortunately, when it's most of the times unpreventable for it to get any worse, that they have all of these extra things that could have been dealt with if they had just spoken up, you know? And this is choice, right? There's no judgments here, but this is the energy that they're giving me. It's like, just allow yourself to really look at you. And I think you have and you're doing. Don't get me wrong. I think you have and you are doing. It's just, do not give up this fight, because I feel like this last leg of the journey is like, I don't get virus colds very often, if at all, not a joke, probably since I was 12, speaking of. And they're bringing me back to like for majority of people, so I've been told that when they're at the end of a cold or whatever, that lingering little bit of phlegm or mucus is like the hardest to like really fully clear. That's the analogy that they're giving me. So there's a little bit of stickiness left, let's say. So this is what this is. It's that recognition of sitting in that power of understanding I see myself now, which means that I have an invisible armor that does not need to weigh me down. It is a matter of a reflective armor as opposed to a metalled thing that's on my body. I hope that makes sense. It's like a light energy deflection as opposed to needing something that's weighted in the material plane. I hope that makes sense. All right, and then we have Courthouse. Yeah. Interesting how similar cards are showing up, and I have shuffled, left a date in between your readings, so I made sure the energies weren't colliding, and they still are. So Courthouse and the Sacrifice. Again, I was talking about this in pile 1. The verdict, the argument or the understanding of what you're fighting for has been established. I know what I'm going in to do. I can see what my objective is. I have my speech, my argument, I have the game plan. In other words, I know exactly what it is I am going to do, period. I am heading towards my choice of sacrifice to let go of this. I don't even know what to call it. This cloak that you've had on that has been hiding you for so long from yourself, from experiencing true love, from letting in forgiveness, for easing the pain to heal, to letting go of the burdens in your mind. You have made that choice and you are ready to go to motherfucking court for it. That obviously can be a literal thing, but it's, again, everything is an allegory. Okay, let's see your doorway. Oh, the sacred lotus. Yeah, you're at Lotus. Woo woo. Jokes. It says, compassion in action, the chosen tool. I see now the lotus in your spirit's jewel. Woo! Welcome to Lotusthesage. Jokes, let me read that again though, in all seriousness. The sacred lotus, compassion in action, the chosen tool. That's it, compassion for yourself, compassion for what has happened, and the compassion for you understanding why you have felt so trapped. I see now the lotus in your spirit's jewel, which is that growth out of the mucky water like we talked about, that beautiful sprouting amongst the chaos, a special blooming of yourself. That's why I saw that flower. Pile 2. This is juicy and great. I know that this is not an easy task to go through. I am a person who will always make sure that you are trying to get the most benefit and lightness out of the darkness. Because we still need to navigate our way through the dark, and however you choose to find your communication style or dance style, let's say, through that darkness, is all about the experimentation of the trial and error. It might be you have to feel your way through. It might be you have to crumble to get through. It might be you need to laser focus on the end and just somewhat blindfold us, but again, eventually, we have to be able to sit in the dark. That's the point. And when you sit in that darkness, you don't get consumed by it. You don't fear it because you are light. Period. You are that grace. That grace tone is what I just heard. You can emit that light from within to illuminate the space that you feel you might be in darkness in. Darkness is just the absence of light. So if there is darkness and you are light, there's always this beautiful balance of being able to encompass both. One is in the other is in one. Okay, let's look at your tarot. So we have the Four of Wands. We have the Six of Pentacles. And then we have Death. So the same two areas that I referenced first, which was family, community, and relationships, exactly what's echoing to here. The disruption of the stability of what you thought was home or genuine. And this give and take of how you were receiving that information, receiving that false type of admiration, has left you feeling depleted and like, why did this have to come to an end? It's almost like I think that's why Spirit intervened. You were enjoying too much living in the illusion. That's what I just heard. It was like without this, it would not have benefited the whole of humanity or yourself. Like I know they're not reversed, but like there's this, it's underneath this column of how I'm doing the reading. So of this disruption, the community and the sunset, Four of Wands talks about that celebration. It's that like union card. It talks about stability. Six of Pentacles also talks about family, history, nostalgia, balance, and then it's death. It's like all of a sudden it just came to an end. And that is, I think, the reason why that is that Tower energy. It's like this had to come to an end because you were still trying to fit yourself in here, and you aren't that person. And without us intervening in the sense, you would not have seen it. we had to make this transformation happen now. Your spirit wants it too. It's not like there was a disagreement with that. It's like, that's the agreement. If you don't reach it at a certain point, or I get too far, this is when you can intervene. Boom. It's already agreed upon. So this is what they did. Hence, that is that sunset, that fire impact. Let's see what it says to clarify. Dang. 2 of Cups. Right underneath that 4 of Wands, right? This is the same thing we talked about. Family, relationships. 2 of Cups, 4 of Wands. Disruption. There is crumbling in that. This is what this whole area is about. 8 of Swords. See? It's the same thing. You're in your head about all of this. Like, I can step out of it. That's what the 8 of Swords is about, though. I can step out of this situation, but I have been so used to this. This is what it is. I'm so used to this. I've been so programmed to think that this is what I want. That this is what I should want, excuse me. And it could have been like a recent event that happened, or this could be an accumulation of that. This recent event also triggers or makes it a full kind of picture for you to look at, which is part of this disruption. Because the 8 of Swords is under about this give and take. Like, what was I not seeing? What was I just keeping myself stuck here for? When did this happen? The Magician. And now you're like, well, it is time to literally transform. That is the Alchemist. That is the Magician. That is taking all the tools now that you have acquired based on what has already transpired for you to step out new, reborn, shed skin. To leave behind the old familiarities of a false identity that you no longer have space for. It is dead and buried. It is time to make some magic. That's what I just heard. Make some motherfucking magic. Yes, I'm about that. Okay, let's get it. Let's get it, pal 2. All right, let's see what the next here. Trapped in fear. Queen of Cups. High Priestess. And the King of Wands. Beautiful. It is saying, echoing to this intuition, right? This trusting in your actual innate gifts that you have had that have just been cloaked, let's say. This knowing now that you have, they're asking you to bring it out. Bring it out of you, which is that King of Wands, which is that go-getter, very confident, knows his worth, stable, motivated, ambitious. I'm also getting that there's a feeling of the way that some of these people may have been presented in your life may have come across very sweet and genuine, but somewhat mysterious, which I think that you really enjoyed. But then it ended up just being very primal and very, like I said, surface, which is echoing to why you got stuck in this fear loop of this pattern of seeking out the same type of energies for you to, like we talked about, play out in surrogates, right? When we're not really addressing the real issue of what the problem is, which is usually we haven't looked at ourselves quite long enough or hard enough to really pinpoint, which this opportunity for you has allowed. So that's a freaking gift. A difficult gift, but it's a welcome gift. Then we have the 9 of Wands underneath the Queen of Cups. The 6 of Cups underneath the High Priestess. And the 4 of Cups underneath the King of Wands. You know what I just got? That, again, back to this mother and father figure. It's like the programming again. They just showed me mother, father, grandmother. That's what they showed me. And they showed me there's, again, this disconnect between mother and father in some way, shape, or form when it came to the way that you learned about communication and love. And this older figure, even if it wasn't your biological grandmother, but somebody that you looked at in that essence or that frequency, I feel was the only person that you really got along with, or that you felt that understood you. Ooh, they just brought me back to a memory of my own. So I think I know exactly what this feeling is. Okay. And she may have departed or transitioned at a younger age for you it might have been around the same time that this was being integrated. This around this 6 to 10 is what I'm going to say. 6 to 10 years old. I want to say 9, 6 to 9. There's a really heavy emphasis on that. So this sort of battle that you're always feeling with the mother archetype in your house, whether that was a sister, mother, or both, it doesn't really matter. Whoever that plays in your household, there's this battle of like sort of needing to stand your ground and fight your ground or fight for whatever, but still not really being seen or heard, feeling that way. This grandmother figure, like I said, you felt an affinity towards, you felt comfortable, you felt a sense of home there. So there was this juxtaposition when it comes to what does love mean and how do we communicate and all of this stuff. And I feel like once this person transitioned, it might have been your father's mother. There feels like there's a disconnect between you and father for different reasons than you and mother. And it felt like the father figure was always trying to offer you like stuff to help. It wasn't like there was anything per se, but it was like they're just not hearing me. Like they're not listening to what I would like to do with my life or how I'm feeling, what the kind of person that I am. So this type of masculine that this person wants me to be, whatever energetic frequency that is for you, that type of masculine was not in alignment with what you were wanting. Again, there's so many false things that didn't allow you to cultivate who you actually were. Too many influences that affected your way of perceiving yourself, which has led to this trapped feeling. The need for the disruption, the sacrifice now to pick you, to choose love. Beautiful. Let's see what these say. King of Cups. Strength. And Page of Swords. Lovely. I'm getting now this sacrifice, this perspective change, this decision made of choosing the self. You are looking towards your own strength, to find your new beginning, to start anew with clear thought, with excitement for the adventure, for finding your true energetic match also when it comes to expressing and giving love. Somebody to sort of tame the beast within, in a sense, that makes you excited to tame that beast. It's beautiful. Like it's a maturation of this though, and I feel like it's taken you longer than you thought it should, is what I'm gonna say. Thought it should, but it's ultimately gonna bring you the most happiness, the most. Yep. The Star. Yep. That healing, that wish fulfillment, the end of the burdens underneath that Strength card, releasing that almost at the finishing stretch. Woo! Talk about that new start! Ace of Pentacles. That's right. That tangible new start to go off with that that energetic, that gusto, that push forward to be like, yes, I'm done this cycle. I understand now. Let me go forward and find my gold. Find my gold. Find my destiny. Follow my star. Let me get inspired by my environment and the people to bring in more love. And so I can give more love. It's very full again. Difficult. This is a difficult journey, my friends. Difficult. But you are right now, is what I'm getting, is like right here. It's like the understanding, this is all happening now, don't get me wrong. This is a realization that you're really grasping right now. So you're right here. It's like this is where the energy is. The transition is underway. The transformation is underway. The healing is coming in. The recognition of your actual self-worth and strength. The looking back and understanding what the family dynamics may have done to your way of being. And without blame and shame, is just to look at and see where things didn't work for you, and now to remedy them in a way that is going to be more helpful for you in the future, so that you can lay down these 10 of Wands and these burdens to cultivate this new tangible start. Ooh, get it. I love that. Okay, so underneath this is the third eye chakra. Yeah, the awakening, right? It's the understanding. Third eye chakra. It's the that beautiful awakening of what we're talking about in this spiritual process of recognizing what it is that we need to focus on. Yeah, underneath the Kipper deck is concern. Yeah, there's naturally going to be concern about, can I do this? Can I get to the end of this? Concern about how deep it went, what this really means for you. But it's all thoughts, right? It's all the thinking, right? And this is asking you to tap into that third eye of just sitting in it and allowing it to marinate and process for you to emerge from this murkiness. Underneath Divine Doorways, it says silent skill. I challenge you to unpack your mind. In meditation's grace, the soul can unwind. Exactly what I was just talking about. Breathe in, breathe out, let go of doubt. How perfect. Beautiful. And then your tarot underneath is Four of Pentacles. Don't hold on too tightly, my friend. Let go of that. You will find that stability. You don't need to hoard on to this old version of yourself. Release. Yeah, Nine of Swords. It'll keep you in your head, but we want to get to that Nine of Pentacles. To that true healing. Beautiful. We're going to get you a guidance card to close it off. My wonderful pile too. 2 guidance cards. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for sticking around. I'm super new to YouTube, so if you could give it a like, that'd be extremely helpful. Share it. Subscribe if you feel so inclined. I just hope that it gave you something to really look into, and I just would love to reach more people, so that's really the purpose. Okay, my love. How to? Let's see what Spirit wants to close you. Ooh, look at that. 2 right away. First one says, Star Ancestor, follow the voice of your soul. We've been talking about it all day. Follow that calling. Follow that voice. Follow your star. Come home to self. Woo! She-wolf, unleash the wild within. Unleash that beast. With that strength there, but talking about somebody to tame that beast within. Yeah, find your she-wolf, in other words, whatever that means to you, that essence of that wild within. Okay, my beautiful Paltus, I am sending you off with a beautiful, heartwarming, and hoping you have a wonderful life. Hoping you have a wonderful day, and I will see you hopefully next time back here on Lotusthesage. Ciao.